Hi there. So we are now down to the fighter villager. In case you haven't watched my video about support, tank, marksman, and mage villager, I would recommend that you watch those first, before proceeding on this video. Anyway, without further ado, let me introduce you, the fighter villager. Fighter villager will have this red particle circling around them. Fighter villager specialize on melee battle and crowd control. It can easily defeat its opponent with the help of its crowd control ability. So, let's check its abilities. First, its normal attack is called Rapid Punch. It can detect monsters within its 15 radius, and it will attack the closest monster to him, dealing 2 damage each hit. Fighter villager has the most basic attack compared to other village defenders. Anyway, let's proceed now to his passive skill. Its passive skill is called Final Showdown. When the fighter villager receives fatal damage, he will start slamming the ground every second, dealing 10 damage to nearby monsters. He is invincible for the duration, but after 10 seconds, the fighter villager will die. Oh, by the way, it also has a second passive. Fighter villager can increase their health up to 100 hit points, or 50 hearts. Alright, let's proceed now to its normal skill. Its normal skill is called Bone Crusher. The fighter villager will push away the closest monster to him. When the monster reaches a certain range while being knocked back, they will take 5 damage. Each time the fighter villager casts this skill, he will heal 32 hit points. Its normal skill has a 5 seconds cooldown only. If the monster hits the ground too hard or hits a wall while being knocked back, they will take an additional 10 damage and will be immobilized for 3 seconds. Alright, so those are the abilities of a fighter villager. Let's proceed now to the commands. As always, we will start by making the particle indicator for the fighter villager. By the way, fighter villager has a faith score of 25. So this command will summon an armor stand named fighter_indicator 10 blocks above the fighter villager. Next, we need to make sure that the armor stand should be close to the fighter villager. So, if there's no fighter villager 10 blocks below the armor stand, this command will kill that armor stand. Now let's make the armor stand to spin. Basically, this is the command that will make the armor stand to spin, which will eventually create the circling particle. Now let's make sure that the armor stand will always stay at the top of the fighter villager. Oops, a syntax error. Alright, let's add the particle command. Next, let's make the armor stand invisible. Oops, wrong spelling. Alright, let's activate it now. Looks like the particle indicator is working fine. Let's proceed now to its normal attack. Let's create first the scoreboard objective that we will need. Alright, for the first command here, let's make the fighter villager to chase the closest monster. This command will make the fighter villager to move towards the closest monster within its 15 radius. However, the problem with this command is that it will also make the fighter villager to chase flying monster. We need to do something for that. So with this, whenever the fighter villager move upward, this command will make the fighter villager to stay on the ground. Now to apply damage to its target. This command will deal to damage continuously to the closest monster within its 1 radius, unless the passive skill of the fighter villager is activated. Alright, so this concludes the normal attack of the fighter villager. Alright, let's proceed now to its passive skill. Let's start again by creating the objectives that we will need. This means fighter passive skill. Alright, let's start by equipping the fighter villager with a totem. This command will equip a newly summoned fighter villager with a totem. Now, we don't want this command to infinitely equip totem to every fighter villager. So once the fighter villager has been equipped with a totem, this command will set their fighter passive skill score to 0, which will prevent the previous command to equip them again with totem. Now let's add the duration for the passive skill. So when the totem of the fighter villager has been used, this command will set the fighter passive skill duration score to 200, which is equivalent to 10 seconds. Oops, I forgot to add players. Now let's make the fighter villager to be invincible for the duration. So once the totem has been used, this command will give a max resistance effect for that fighter villager. Next, we need to put a command to make the duration to start countdown. This command will gradually decrease the fighter passive skill duration score to 0. Now, we need to put a command to kill the fighter villager at the end of the duration. So when the fighter passive skill duration score reaches 0, this command will kill that fighter villager. Alright, let's see if the villager will last for 10 seconds after receiving a fatal damage. Alright, seems everything is going according to plan. Let's add now a sound effect. So during its passive skill, this sound will be played every second. Let's also add a particle effect. So same goes as the previous command, this particle command will be activated every second. Now for the damage command. So this command will deal 10 damage to monsters every second near the fighter villager once the passive skill has been activated. Alright, let's put it to the test. Perfect. Now, don't forget that the fighter villager has a second passive. So this command will increase the hit point cap of the fighter villager. With this, the fighter villager can reach up to 100 hit points. Alright, that will conclude the passive skill of the fighter villager. Now let's proceed to its normal skill, but let's prepare first the scoreboard objectives that we need. This means fighter normal skill cooldown. This means fighter normal skill. Alright. Let's start by setting up the cooldown for this skill. So when there's a monster within the 1 radius of the fighter villager, this command will set their fighter normal skill cooldown score to 100. Now, we need to put an objective to the target of the fighter villager. So when the previous command got activated, this command will put 15 fighter normal skill score to the target monster. Oops, let me just fix it real quick. Now let's add the heal effect for this skill. So when the F_and S_CD is set to 100, this command will apply instant health effect to the fighter villager. Next, let's put a simple particle command. So this command will execute a single sonic particle in front of the fighter villager when the skill got activated. Next, let's also put a sound effect. So alongside with the particle command earlier, this sound command will also be activated. Now to make the fighter normal skill cooldown score to decrease. So this command will gradually decrease the fighter normal skill cooldown score. Next, we need a command to fully reset the fighter normal skill cooldown score. This command will reset the fighter normal skill cooldown score once the score reaches 0. Alright, let's move on to the skill itself. This will be the particle that will be emitted when the monster is being knocked back. Now to make the monster to be knocked back. This will make the mob to be teleported backward. Next, we need to make the fighter normal skill score to decrease also. So with this, the fighter normal skill score on the monster will gradually decrease. Now let's add the damage command. So when the fighter normal skill score of a monster reaches 0, this command will deal 5 damage to that monster. Next, to immobilize the monster. So this command will detect if there's a block at the back of the monster that is being knocked back. And if there is, this command will put 60 immobilized score to that monster. By the way, to make this command to work, Make sure that you also did the commands for the support villager. Next, let's also add the additional damage command. So when the monster hit a block while being knocked back, this command will also deal 10 damage to that monster. Now to fully reset the fighter normal skill score. So when the fighter normal skill score of a monster reaches 0, this command will reset the score. Alright, let's put it now to the test. This is not supposed to happen. Let me check the first command again. Oops, I forgot to add 2 dots here. That should fix the problem. Alright, let's see. Alright, looks like everything is good now. So you know what that means. Special thanks for these people for helping this channel. And of course, each person who is watching this video is also such a huge help for me. So, bye.